morning, volunteers, members, guests, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to OACETT's 2020 Virtual Annual General Meeting. While my hope was that I would be standing before you and seeing some very familiar faces as we get started today, the pandemic has upended many aspects of how we operate on the day-to-day. This includes this AGM. This is OACETT's first annual virtual general meeting, so thank you for logging in to participate today. The AGM is a requirement of the Canadian Not-for-Profit Corporations Act. OACETT is legally obliged to deliver the AGM within certain timeframes. That is why we're holding this meeting today, as opposed to trying to wait out the pandemic and see if we could do it in person. A copy of the AGM agenda can be downloaded from the handouts area of the GoToWebinar dashboard. All members, with the exception of the OACETT Administrative Board, OAB, are signed in as attendees. Your audio has been muted to ensure that the meeting runs smoothly with limited feedback. Members can ask questions by typing their questions into the chat or question box feature located on their GoToWebinar dashboard. When I announce each question period, our moderator, Barbara Chappell, acting CEO of OACETT, will read the question along with the name of the individual making the inquiry. If you could include your chapter, that would be helpful as well. If I am unable to answer the question, I will direct it to a member of OAB or staff. Please note we will try to answer all questions this morning during the meeting, but if we're not able to provide an answer, we will get back to you later on. I would also like to touch on the voting procedures before we get underway. All voting will be in accordance with our bylaw 19, section 7.5, which states the quorum for meetings of members of the association shall be 40 certified members in good standing as defined in clauses 2.2 and 2.3 of the bylaw, including proxies, except where herein otherwise provided. This takes into account the 4 proxies we have received prior to this meeting. All attendees were asked to download the GoToWebinar app to ensure voting works properly on their device. If you haven't already downloaded it, it's your chance to go ahead and get ready for the voting. When a motion is read, the poll will be displayed on your screen. This will allow you to select how you would like to vote by clicking an option. Also, should you not be able to vote, please minimize your screen. We will give a minute for all members to vote. After this time, we will close the poll and display the result. I would now like to begin today's meeting by introducing your members of council. Mr. Greg Miller, CET, CBCO, past president. Ms. Rosanna Baggs, CET, RCJI, president-elect. Mark Gatenby, CET, vice president, professional affairs and services board. Mr. Michael Mooney, CET, vice president, Institute of Engineering Technology, Ontario. Ms. Devi Richards, CET, LET, Aido Councillor, Central Region. Mr. David Cotter, CET, PASB Councillor, Central Region. Mr. King On Lee, CET, Aido Councillor, Eastern Region. Mr. Dale Phippen, CET, PASB Councillor, Eastern Region. Mr. Rashid Khan, ASCT, Aido Councillor, Horseshoe Region. Mr. Salvador Ingraldi, CTEC, PASB Councillor, Horseshoe Region. Ms. Caroline Belanger, CET, Aido Councillor, Northern Region. Mr. Richard LaBelle, CTEC, PASB Councillor, Northern Region. Mr. Jose Catillo, CET, Aido Councillor, Toronto Region. Mr. Reginald Greco, CET, PASB Councillor, Toronto Region. Mr. Chris Van Dock, CET, Aido Councillor, Western Region. Mr. Mike Belmonte, ASDT, PASB Councillor, Western Region. Mr. Alex Lesty, appointed public representative. Mr. Ranjan Bhutakara, MBA, appointed representative from the Heads of Technology. Mr. Ian Howcroft, member at large and CEO of Skills Ontario. Mr. Tim Kirkby, CET, PEng, PEO representative. I would also like to take this opportunity to thank Mr. Kai Yi. He was our student rep from September 2019 to June of 2020. The student rep position is a 1-year term. Thank you, Kai, for your dedication to our association. I would also like to introduce OACETT's senior management team. Ms. Barbara Chappell, MA, Acting CEO and Registrar. Ms. Janice Mead, CPA, EA, Director of Finance, Admin, and IT. Mr. David Terlizzi, Director of Professional Affairs and Services and Government Relations. Mr. Barry Billing, Acting Director of IEDO and Deputy Registrar. And at this point, I would also like to acknowledge our past presidents in attendance. Mr. Greg Miller, CET, CBCO, our current past president. Mr. Bob Vandenberg, CET. Mr. David Saunders, CET, fellow OACETT. Mr. Stephen Morley, CET, fellow OACETT. Mr. Angelo Innocente, CET, fellow OACETT. This past year has been exciting in many ways for OACETT, and one of the ways that it has been exciting is we have been on a search for a new CEO. I would like to take this opportunity to announce that we have recently hired our permanent CEO, who will be starting with us in September of 2020. I want to welcome Cheryl Farrow to our annual general meeting and to our organization. We look forward to working with you. And at the same time, I would also like to thank Barbara Chappell for her leadership as acting CEO over the past 8.5 to 9 months. We appreciate your dedication to the organization, and it has not been an easy time to take on the role of acting CEO. I would now like to introduce our AGM parliamentarian, Deborah House, who is on the line. She is going to read the rules of conduct and order for this meeting.
Thank you, Madam President. Good morning, everyone. I'm going to refer to the rules of order for the virtual annual general meeting, which were sent to you last night and are also on the handouts on your meeting guide. You can pull them up and read them. I'm not going to read the full details. These rules of order help guide our meeting and bring order and professionalism to the conduct of the business. So members and guests had to register before being admitted to the meeting. Voting is limited to certified members who have been given the instructions and will respond on each of the polls. Individuals will not be able to address each other directly, but they will address all their remarks to the chair through the question or chat box that's on the virtual platform. And as the president has already indicated, she's told you how she will answer and deal with those. If members have been given advance notice of the terms of a motion that you will see in the meeting, the only permissible amendments are those that will allow the intent of the motion to remain. So keep that in mind if you're planning amendments to any motion. If there is a new item or motion that has not been included in the notice of the meeting, it's considered unfair for members present at the meeting, and especially those represented by proxy or not represented at all, that we deal with those without proper notice. Under your bylaw section 7.3 of bylaw 19, business brought before an annual meeting of which prior notice was not given in accordance with section 7.2, and which results in the passage of a resolution is not binding on council. Council, however, will take such resolution under advisement for further study and possible action. As a result, the chair may permit the sharing of information or a brief discussion on any new item or motion so that council can receive supporting information. Votes may be cast in person or by the registered proxy in the format that is allowed. When asking a question on the chat or the question box, please include your name and your chapter number. And we ask that you respect that others may be having questions as well. So please only limit one question per topic on each of your chats, okay? The question should be addressed to the chair or directly to the presenter of the agenda item. So if it happens to be finance, for example, to the auditor who is speaking at the time. The chair has the right to determine whether the question is in order and relevant. And we ask that all questions, of course, be in good taste because it is a business meeting. If there is any debate and you have a comment to make, we ask that you confine your comments to the merits of the pending motion. Please focus on the motion, not on personalities. And if the chair has to interrupt, we ask that you please be quiet until the chair is finished, and then the chair may recognize you to finish speaking again. Madam Chair, that's a summary of the rules of order for the meeting, and unless there are any questions, I'll sit back and let you continue the meeting.
Sorry, it looks like I was muted when I said all of that. Are there any questions for Ms. Howe? If so, please put them in the chat feature, and I'll give you a few minutes.
Madam President, I do not see any questions specific to the rules of conduct.
Thank you, Barbara. And thank you, Ms. Howe. Before we begin the meeting, I would like to observe a moment of silence for members who have passed away this year. And now I would ask that our secretary, Ms. Caroline Boone, address the approval of the minutes of the June 8th, 2019 meeting.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I now refer you to your AGM package under item number 2, where you will find the minutes from the 2019 Annual General Meeting.
We are now going to present a motion to approve the minutes from the June 8th, 2019 Annual General Meeting. It is moved by Rick Seaman, CET, Vice Chair of Lanark Leeds Grenville Chapter, and seconded by Craig Lagasse, CTEC, Chair of the Sudbury Chapter. And the motion reads, resolved that the minutes of the Annual General Meeting of the Ontario Association of Certified Engineering Technicians and Technologists of June 8, 2019 be accepted as presented or amended. We will now take the poll. Please select if you are in favor, opposed, or abstaining from this motion. Thank you for voting, and that's carried. At this time, I would like to acknowledge some of our guests who are on the line or were unable to attend. If they were unable to attend, they have sent written greetings in for us. On the line, we have Sarah Camden, CTEC, RT Manager, President of Applied Science Technologists and Technicians of British Columbia. Teresa McCurry, CEO of Applied Science Technologists and Technicians of British Columbia. Ray Wilkinson, CET, President of the Association of Science and Engineering Technology Professionals of Alberta. And we also have written greetings from Brian Burt, CET, President of Island Technology Professionals from PEI, who was unable to attend this virtual meeting. Thank you to our special guests. It has been a pleasure to lead our great organization for the past year, and I would like to take this time to reflect on some of the successes the association has enjoyed since our last AGM. This also falls in line with my commitment to provide a report card to the membership on what had been accomplished in the previous year. We continue to overhaul our IT database, the intent of which is to streamline internal operations to better serve our membership by providing more features for members and staff and greater efficiencies. The scheduled implementation date for this new IT database or customer relationship management platform is fall 2020. We are a little over a year into our strategic plan with a concerted effort to engage membership at the chapter and association levels, help diversify member offerings, meet the needs of particular segments of the membership, and continually assess what we are doing right and what we can improve upon. In order to ensure the engineering technology professionals of tomorrow see value in their association, a few initiatives are in the works. These include increased engagement of college faculty who allow OACETT access to students, the hiring of a corporate outreach manager who will be rolling out the new corporate partnership program in the fall of 2020. The intent of which is to bring companies on board and ensure they see the value of hiring OACETT members. In addition to this, the Young Professionals Committee, made up of members, many of whom are under the age of 35, rolled out their 10-year recognition event this year in the Eastern, Western, and Central regions. This was the first of many initiatives to attract and maintain the millennials and the Generation Z. In addition, this fall, they will be unveiling their online best practices toolkit for chapters to learn how to better engage young people. It was another strong year for the association in 2019 with over 1,900 new applications. Certification numbers continue to grow with the addition of 823 certified members, which is an increase of 11% over the previous year and was the largest number in a year since 2016, resulting in a rate of 72.1% certified members. The addition of a public rep to the IEDO board reconfirms its commitment and dedication to the public accountability, professional ethics and standards, and our rules of professional conduct. While they also explored opportunities for engagement with like-minded partners, including the American Association of Civil Engineers, the Utility Engineering and Surveying Institute, Engineering Change Lab, Future Cities, and MARs were explored. The partnership with Technology Professionals Canada and Technology Accreditation Canada continues to prove to be a worthwhile investment, which started over 10 years ago. While the growing list of accredited college programs is rewarding to see, it is equally positive to see a significant effort being undertaken to address our standards. To this effect, I am pleased that Technology Accreditation Canada and the Canadian Technology Accreditation Board finalized their agreement to integrate 92 CTAB accredited programs as per the agreement between Technology Professionals Canada and the Canadian Council of Technicians and Technologists. On that note, after 10 years of having 2 national associations, the 9 provincial associations across Canada met in Winnipeg in November and signed an agreement to become a unified national association under the Technology Professionals Canada banner. This is the beginning of great things for the engineering, technology, and applied science professions. This past November, OACETT had its biannual Provincial Honors and Awards Gala, which recognized 24 professionals in 10 award categories. The gala had outstanding attendance of 200 members and guests, which also included government officials and deans of colleges. As I have been informed, they will be adding 2 award categories in the fall of 2020. Our commitment to CPD remains resolute with a successful audit conducted in 2019. The majority of members are shown in compliance. A big thank you to the membership and employers for their broad support. We are examining closely what we need to do to ensure members understand what is required and how we might provide assistance in addition to sourcing out new course offerings. As many of you might have noticed, since early April, OACETT has been providing free and discounted online webinar and learning options for members. As of the end of June, more than 30 webinars and courses have been provided to the membership. This is being rolled out as a service to our members at this challenging time. Our partnership with Skills Ontario, PEO, OSCE, and the colleges remains strong. This year presented many challenges as Skills Ontario's annual in-person event had to move to a virtual event, and some of the National Engineering Month events had to be canceled. However, we were still able to hold over 70% of the events before social distancing measures were enforced. I, along with the other council members, have done our best to get out and about attending various chapter events. It's good to see both old and new members working to support their chapters and membership. Even though chapters are unable to meet in person at the moment, they are able to connect virtually. OACETT staff are working to ensure chapters can hold meetings like their annual chapter meetings and other events over a virtual platform. To complete my final year as president with OACETT, I am looking forward to working with council, staff, and our new CEO. We will continue to move our association forward to meet whatever challenges lay ahead. In The Lion King, Mufasa says to Simba, "If you look up to the stars, those are the great kings of the past. And whenever you feel alone, just remember those kings will always be there to guide you." I can honestly say that the great past presidents of this organization have been there for me when I needed advice, a committee, or just an ear. I want to thank all our past presidents, but in particular, Greg Miller, Stephen Morley, and David Saunders for being a sounding board, a confidant, and a friend in need. No one could have predicted the situation we're currently in, and without those individuals, the last year would have been very challenging. I would now like to call on Ms. Mead, our treasurer, to provide highlights of the 2019 audited financial statements. Please hold your comments and questions until Ms. Mead has completed the presentation.
Thank you, Madam President. Everybody should be able to find a copy of the audited financial statements as of December 31st, 2019, for item number 4 of your agenda. I'm pleased to report that OACETT had a good year. At the end of 2019, your association had a surplus of $829,100. The surplus includes a $966,744 gain on investments, which is offset against an overall operating deficiency of $137,598. The deficiency was largely due to a number of one-time budgeted expenses, including expenses related to our new customer relationship management system build that is currently ongoing. Revenue in 2019 increased to $5.94 million from $5.84 million in 2018. The additional revenue came from annual membership dues, sponsorships, and examination fees. The long-term investment portfolio increased in value at year-end to $6.81 million, and the rate of return was 12% for the year. The long-term investment portfolio, as of today, has a value of $6.17 million, showing that the assets have declined in their market value since the year-end, mainly due to the effects of the global pandemic. You will note on page 15 of the audited financial statements, a subsequent events note, financial statement note number 11, that specifically addresses the COVID-19 impact on OACETT operations. As of the end of April 2020, your association had an overall surplus of $1.69 million. This surplus includes a $2.35 million excess of revenue over expenses from operations and a loss on investments following the year-end of $658,751. Capital projects remain fully funded with investments in cash. Cash flows are healthy, and our financial position is solid, with our ability to cover expenses for a 13-month period in operating reserves. OACETT's healthy financial reserves in place have put your association in a position to handle any negative cash flow impact during the pandemic. Within these reserves is a contingency fund reserve of $2.15 million that is specifically available for any unexpected operating expenses that OACETT may face during the global pandemic. Management, with the support of your council, continue to closely monitor the impact of the global pandemic while adapting and responding accordingly to best manage your association during these unprecedented times. Thank you, Madam President. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Janice. Are there any questions on the financial report? If so, please include them in the question chat feature on your GoToWebinar dashboard.
Madam President, there is a question from Werner Scherzinger, which asks, have we looked after our employees during this pandemic?
Thank you, Barbara. Yes, we have looked after our employees during this pandemic. Currently, staff are working remotely, and all staff are working at their full work week. I can turn it over to Barbara if she wanted to outline some of the safety measures that we've put in place for anyone who does need to visit the office.
Yes, thank you, Kim. We started preparing as soon as we understood that the pandemic was going to be a global incident, and we introduced health and safety precautions in the office before closing down. We added hand sanitation stations. We trained all the staff in proper hand washing. We ramped up our cleaning of the office. And then when we did shut down, we were in a very good position because we had switched all staff to laptops. So we closed the office on March 16th, and by March 17th, almost every staff person was able to work from home right away. And then we also took some other measures to ensure that after a short delay, we had mail service start up again taking precautions, able to get faxes emailed to all staff, and we now have gloves and masks in the office ready to go. We are also looking into a plexiglass shield for our reception. We have mapped off proper physical distancing around the reception area. So we are taking, I think, very good care of our staff. We have been checking in. They're doing an excellent job from home. That I'm very, very proud of them all. Thank you, Kim.
Thank you, Barbara. Are there any other questions?
This is a question from Rick Seaman. Have we discussed the possibility of buying office space with our reserves?
I guess I can answer that. We haven't discussed it. I think one of the big lessons worldwide that we are coming out of this pandemic with is that office space isn't necessarily the best use of dollars. Many people in this day and age can work from home quite effectively. So I don't know that it would be something that we would be looking to do. I think as we go forward, we may actually be considering which positions need office space centrally, or whether we just look to do what Google and Twitter and other organizations are doing and allow certain people to work from home. Barbara, please jump in if my answer was incorrect or if you have anything to add.
Kim, I believe over the past we have certainly investigated doing that, and every time the result was no, it was better to continue to rent space. Our reserves are for major projects and certainly the situations we find ourselves in at this moment in time.
Thank you. Were there any other questions?
Someone is asking if all our staff are safe and sound, and I am happy to say that is exactly. They are all doing well and are safe and healthy. Thank you.
I'll just pause for one more moment and we'll see if there's any other questions before we call the motion.
Yes, there was a question. Due to this, and it's from Jin Q. John. Due to this tremendous crisis, I assume that many employees who have a C-Tech designation might lose their job. Is there any help or assistance or rehabilitation help for these valuable technicians?
I think I could answer it. I do know that our staff have been doing a number of great initiatives, such as the CPD webinars and things like that. But I'll turn it over to Barbara because she's in a better position to highlight all the wonderful things that our staff are doing to help our members that may have lost their job and need to get their skills back up and running or freshen up their resumes to get back out in the job market.
Thank you, Madam President. Yes, we immediately started to look into ways that we could help the membership. And we have quite a renewal relief program in effect. And maybe I'll ask Janice to speak to that a little bit. Also, the Services Department has ramped up CPD offerings, as Kim mentioned, introduced Webinar Wednesdays, and they have both CPD offered at no charge and also at reduced fees. And I hear they're very well attended. So perhaps I'll turn it over to Janice first and then David Terlizzi to speak a little more on that. Thank you.
Thank you, Barbara. So in terms of the pandemic relief, we've had members reach out during this time for those that have had some difficulty in making their dues payments. So your council has approved certain pandemic relief measures, including waiving all late fees from April onwards, and there are several options being offered to members, including installment payment options, extension of due dates, and reduced dues, to name a few. We are encouraging members that are having difficulty to contact our finance department, where we can provide some consultation in terms of what the best option is for each member. All dues communications have been revised to alert members that, there are measures in place put in by your council to help during this difficult time. And I'll turn it over to David Terlizzi, who can continue the conversation on with member options.
Thank you so much, Janice. So in terms of other initiatives to support our members, let's take members who have particularly lost their jobs. We've decided to start an initiative. I think some of you, I know a lot of you have partaked in it, and that's providing either free or heavily discounted CPD for our members. So we know we're in a crisis now, and for our members, what we're doing starting a few weeks ago, moving onward into the summer, we will be providing curated courses for members as a service at either free or a heavy discount, whether they be career, technical, soft skills. And that is because we know things will get better. And when they do, you'll have the skill sets required to succeed. So we've been having, by the way, 600, 700, 800 members attend. And this is, this is a result of some hard work by the team. But please look out moving forward for some more CPD. And if you have other suggestions, we are here for you. And we're looking at many more initiatives moving forward, especially in conjunction with resume writing, interviewing skills, and we keep adding more and more. So I fully expect members to go on our website, check out our social media, because we have a lot more coming downstream to support you during this difficult time. And that's it for now. Thank you.
I see one more. Sorry, Kim.
Sorry, go ahead.
I see one more question, Kim, and it is from Ted Biernick, CET London chapter. Is the OACETT IT program now fully updated? So I can address that, Kim, if that is okay.
Yep.
The Dragonfly IT upgrade project is progressing very well. All our build meetings are completed, and we're currently training staff, testing and logging tickets when we find something that isn't quite the way we want it. We're working very hard on our data migration, and the first upload is scheduled either the end of June or beginning of July, and that will be the next big hurdle. But other than that, it is going along quite well at this moment. We're working virtually with BDO and having multiple meetings per week on the program. So we are on track for our go live, which is scheduled for the end of October.
Thank you, Barbara. Did we have any other questions?
There is a question from Willie Perez, and it is regarding staff salaries.
Okay.
And
what about staff salaries?
Well, I'm not, I'm just trying to find yes, it's the amount. He's concerned about the amount of the total salaries for staff.
Okay. The salaries are accounted for in our budget, and I'm not sure, given that it's, is the concern that they're too high? I think this might be one of the questions that we look into and take offline. Generally, discussing people's salaries at a public forum like this isn't really something that we should be doing. And I don't think I'm fully understanding the concern, unless the concern is that our salary line item in our budget is too high. Is that what he's concerned with?
I believe that is the concern.
Okay. We do, if I recall correctly, and Barbara, please jump in, but we have had a survey done in the past to ensure that we are offering competitive salaries compared to other organizations of our size and of our nature. And those studies have come back to indicate that we are where we should be. They haven't indicated that we're paying people too low, and they haven't indicated that we're paying people too high. So I don't know that that's the sort of answer that the individual is looking for, but I think that's the best I can offer, is that we do undertake studies from time to time, and we are competitive and where we should be.
Yes, that's correct, Kim. We do these studies every 3 to 4 years. We're due to have one again next year. We didn't want to proceed with one before the Dragonfly project was finished. There may be some additional costs in there last year due to severance pays. But I would agree that any further information should be considered offline. This is getting a little operational.
Thank you for that. I think I will look to you for one more question, and then I think in the interest of time, we can move on. So if there is another question, I'll be happy to field it, and if not, we can move on to the motion.
Yes, there is one more, and that is, do we have a program for promoting non-certified members at 28%, which I think is a large number to be certified? I think this is a time the non-members can take this opportunity. So that's a very good question.
And I'll leave it to you, Barbara, to answer. I think the registrar is probably the person.
Thank you. Yes, we are always promoting certification to our associate members. We do mailings multiple times per year, emails primarily, and then we do send one mailing as well to our non-certified members. We assume that all associates will get certified. It is to their great benefit to do so. They will not only be recognized as a professional and advance their career opportunities, they will be a more successful member and be more successful in their careers. So we also do quite a bit of customer service and counseling on how to get certified, and we offer many options through our technical exams in case members are missing academics, and we give many opportunities to upgrade academics so people can get certified. For the majority of members, it's really should not be that difficult to get certified. If they are a committed OACETT member, it's the professional practice exam, the 2 years of experience. They must provide the documents that are required, and our admissions committee works very hard to get our members through to certified status. So we do quite a lot in IEDO to get them to certify. And also, as you know, we've introduced the CPD requirement to our associate members. So they must complete CPD as well. So I would recommend that everybody go forward to get that certified status. Thank you.
Thanks, Barbara. I think this is a good time to move on to the motion and continue with the meeting. I want to thank the members who have put forward questions. It's great to see such engagement amongst the group. I was a little bit nervous this morning that people would be hesitant to ask questions over the virtual platform. So thank you for providing your questions and your input. So the motion that we need to put forward is moved by Albert Pashkowiak, CET, and seconded by Mason Bellamy, CTEC, RJCI. Resolved that the Ontario Association of Certified Engineering Technicians and Technologists audited financial statements for the year ended December 31st, 2019 be accepted as presented. We will now open the poll. Please indicate whether you are in favor, in opposition, or if you're abstaining from this motion. We will now close the poll. Thank you for casting your vote. That motion is carried. We will now present the motion for the appointment of the auditors. Oh, there we go. Thanks. It is moved by Vanessa Bernicki, ASCT, RCCA, and Peter Nicholas, CET, resolved that the BDO Canada LLP be reappointed auditor for the Ontario Association of Certified Engineering Technicians and Technologists until the annual general meeting in 2021. We will now open the poll. Please indicate if you are in favor, opposed, or abstaining from this motion. Thank you for casting your vote. That motion is carried. I will now call on Mr. Bob Jamieson, CET, fellow OACETT, Chairman of the Fletcher Foundation Board of Trustees, to present the Foundation's report.
Good morning, members, ladies and gentlemen. As the new chair of the Board of Trustees of the Fletcher Foundation, I am pleased to report to our membership on our steady progress and achievements since the last AGM. Managed and operated by a board of trustees appointed by members, the foundation has awarded bursaries to exceptional students and enriched educational experiences and enhanced learning opportunities for students over the last 30 years. Over 2 years ago, the Fletcher Foundation introduced a matching donation program to boost financial support for engineering technology and applied science students. Because of your generosity, the foundation has raised over $46,000 in 2019. These funds have brought the campaign's total contributions to $137,000 and nudged us closer to our fundraising goal of $200,000. Every time you donate, OACETT matches the actual contribution to the foundation 2 times, to a maximum of $25,000 per year. Initially, this campaign was scheduled to end in December 2021. However, thanks to OACETT's Council's generosity, the matching donation program has been extended for 2 more years, ending December 2023. Last year, Fletcher trustees invited Ontario colleges to submit proposals to receive up to $20,000 in funding for programs that enhanced student educational experiences. 3 colleges expressed interest and provided proposals to the foundation. After careful consideration, the trustees selected Niagara College and Northern College as the 2019 recipients of Enhanced Student Educational Experience Program. Each college received $5,000 to fund scholarships for deserving students in photonics, electrical, and electronic engineering programs, and mining service programs. Both colleges matched the Fletcher Foundation's $5,000 endowment, which increased the bursary to $10,000. Conestoga College's Fletcher Scholarship Program, in the second year of a 3-year enhanced student educational experience, awarded scholarships to 5 women excelling in engineering technology studies. Moreover, it engaged these women in mentoring and leadership development. The foundation is thrilled to fund the Fletcher Scholarship Program and the other scholarship programs. We know the sky is the limit when students are provided opportunities to reach their full potential, and that is what makes being a part of these programs so special. Besides the Enhanced Student Educational Experience Program, the foundation also celebrated excellence in education by selecting a worthy technology student to receive the OACETT Generation Award. We present this award annually to a child, grandchild, or spouse of an OACETT member enrolled in a post-secondary engineering, technology, or applied science program. As a foundation, we have celebrated almost 10 years of growth and success, mostly credited to the extraordinary enthusiasm, efforts, and commitment of David Tiang, ASET, who served chair from 2011 to 2020. Throughout his tenure, he incentivized the board of trustees, OACETT's former CEO David Thompson, and OACETT staff to build and improve financial support for students and develop new programs that would help them reach their goal. His passion breathed new life into the foundation and contributed to 2 phenomenal fundraising campaigns and other incentives that have renewed and increased educational opportunities and scholarships for bursaries and offerings for deserving students. After 9 years of David's distinguished service, it will not be easy to see him go, especially considering all of the accomplishments during his tenure. I feel the same about David Keys, CET, fellow OACETT, and David Saunders, CET, fellow OACETT, who are also ending their long-standing service on the Board of Trustees. Both of them contributed valuable input, time, and expertise in the foundation and helping shape our future. Personally, I would like to thank all 3 for their life dedication to OACETT and future generations through the Fletcher Foundation. We built the foundation together over the past decade, and I am proud of what we accomplished. I am equally excited to see the contributions of new board members, Ken Brown, CET, Denise Van Och, CET, and Jennifer Hazelton, CTEC, will bring to the table as we plan the future of the foundation. I want to welcome and thank them for joining the foundation. I would also like to acknowledge the kind contributions of OACETT members and others who gave to the foundation. Your generosity and continued support is much appreciated. This ends my report, and I turn the meeting back to President Kim Pickett.
Thank you, Bob. That was a great report. I will now call on Ms. Janice Mead to present the Fletcher Foundation financial statements for 2019.
Thank you, Madam President. Now direct you to the financial statements for 2019 that are included in your package under item number 5. I'm pleased to report that the foundation had an excellent year. The foundation received just over $57,600 in total member and corporate donations in 2019. This includes the donations that were received for the college's Enhanced Student Educational Experience program that Bob had mentioned in his report. OACETT matched your donations by $25,000 in 2019. With these donations, the foundation paid out $41,500 in endowments to colleges and $3,000 in awards. The foundation's investment portfolio had an increase in 2019 of over $15,000, while the market value of the portfolio at year-end was $156,910. It has since declined to a value as of today of $140,500, and again, this is due to the decline in the markets globally because of the COVID-19. Overall, the foundation ended the 2019 year with a surplus of $22,550 as compared to a loss in 2018 of $3,700. The surplus was largely due to the investment market gains as well as an increase in member and corporate donations. Thank you, Madam President. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Janice. Are there any questions on the financial report? If so, please include them in the question or chat feature on the GoToWebinar dashboard.
Madam President, there are no questions specific to the Fletcher Foundation report or the financial report for Fletcher.
Thank you, Barbara. We will move on to the motion. It is moved by Anil Kalarseri, CET, seconded by David McKinnon, CET, resolved that the financial statements for the Carol and George Fletcher Foundation for the year ended December 31st, 2019 be accepted as presented. We will now conduct the poll. Please choose whether you're in favor, in opposition, or abstaining from this motion. Thank you for casting your vote. That motion is carried. We will now present the motion for the appointment of the foundation accountants. It is moved by Carol Horton, ASCT Treasurer of the Timmins Chapter, and seconded by Rob Wright, CET Chair of Lanark Leeds Grenville Chapter. Resolved that BDO Canada LLP be reappointed as accountants for the Carol and George Fletcher Foundation until the annual general meeting in 2021. We will now open the poll. Please select if you are in favor, opposition, or abstaining from this motion. Thank you for casting your vote. This motion is carried. We will now present the motion for the appointment of the trustees. It is moved by Sean Richardson, CET, Chair of Durham Chapter, and seconded by Stephanie Pesho, CTEC, Vice Chair of the Thunder Bay Chapter. Resolved that Bob Jamieson, Chair, Ken Brown, Jennifer Hazelton, Denise Van Osh, and Steve Barnes be appointed as trustees of the Carol and George Fletcher Foundation until the annual meeting in 2021. We will now open the poll. Please select if you are in favor, in opposition, or abstaining from this motion. Thank you for casting your vote. This motion is carried. I would now like to open the floor to any new business or general questions that you may have. Please be sure to type any comments or questions for discussion into the chat box, and our moderator, Barbara Chapel, Acting CEO, will review them.
Thank you, Madam President. I have received a few questions throughout the meeting today that I was holding to the end, as they were not specific to one of the other items. We have one that's come in from past President Bob Vandenberg, asking what additional funding needs to be taken to complete the important project, which is Dragonfly.
Okay.
Perhaps Janice could speak to that. President
I
Kim?
was going to suggest that actually. If Janice, you could go ahead and address that comment or question.
Thank you, Madam President. So far, there wasn't a budget set for the Dragonfly project. Before the project was started, we ensured that there were enough funds in the reserves to complete the entire project. To date, we've paid over $1 million into the implementation project. We did do a 10-year hosted cost budget, so that does include the maintenance for the whole 10 years to host the project. So to date, we have $1.1 million, and it is a up to $3.5 million project for the 10 years. So there is enough in the reserve to complete the project. I hope that answers the question.
Thank you, Janice.
We do have a comment from Simon Cadu saying that since everything has changed, he would like future meetings to be by webinar as well, because he was able to participate. So he thought this was a great platform. And we have a question from Maureen Ryle Fatil, and he wants to know what we're doing to help members without Canadian education and work experience to secure a job or volunteer position.
Okay, well, first, I would like to acknowledge the comment from the member who suggested that a virtual platform would be a great addition. We can certainly look into doing something like that. I think nothing beats getting all of our chapter reps together at our annual general meeting and conference to socialize and to network and to bounce ideas off each other. But I do agree that we've had a lot more participation today than I was expecting, and it's good to see. And I think we've also gotten quite a few members from, areas of the province that may not be able to travel as easily to the actual event. So I think that's something we can certainly take back and look at. And then as for the, sorry, Barbara, I've forgotten the question at hand.
Oh, this was
Can
a
you
question
repeat?
about what we are doing for members and newly certified members as well that may not have the Canadian academics or experience.
Okay, I will turn that actually over to you, Barbara, to address, if you could.
Yes, I'm wondering if our two vice presidents might like to weigh in on this. Vice President Aido, Michael Mooney, and also Vice President Mark Gatenby. So can we turn it over to Mike first?
So I think from the Aido perspective, if I understand the question correctly, is we're really focusing on providing programs to help our members be able to get across that certification hurdle and kind of level up, and whether it's through the CPD programs or other programs that we're implementing. On the Aido side, we're really about certification for the members. So we're not so much, our mandate isn't so much about finding placements for individual members, but to help as many people as possible kind of get over that hurdle to certification. So to that end, we're kind of constantly reviewing the effectiveness of our programs. We're changing the composition of our committees around. We've added public reps to boards to really try and get a handle on what's happening out in the industry and how it's impacting our members.
Thanks, Mike. Mark, did you want to weigh in as well?
The PAS is working very hard with all of our international students, colleges, and all the international people to try and get them on board and certified. And to that end, we are doing CPD and other seminars and webinars to help them get to that point. As with anything, if there's any suggestions that we can help out or any suggestions where we can move forward with this as PASVP, please let me know and we will do our best to accommodate that. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thanks, Mark. I think that answered that question. Barbara, can you read out the next question?
I was just going to say that quite a few of the questions are of a more personal nature, specific to certification, and some regarding the LET. So we will respond to all members after the AGM. Just please give us a few days to get back to all of you. So the next question is from Bob Vandenberg, CET Durham Chapter, past president. And he's saying, Kim, thank you for your leadership during these interesting times. As you're aware, we will be entering into an election in 2021, and the nominating committee will be putting out a call for nominations. Could you provide insight into your volunteer journey with OACETT, from volunteering at the chapter level to your current role, along with any benefits, personal growth, and advice you could give to those considering running for an elected position?
Absolutely. Thank you, Bob. It's a great question. Many of you may know I started my journey volunteering with OACETT at the Georgian Bay chapter. First, I went to my first meeting. Someone, I think, asked me if I could write, and I said yes. So then I became the secretary, worked my way through the chapter, became chapter chair, and I believe, actually, Bob Vandenberg, it was you who suggested I join the provincial council. You had moved from regional counselor to VP of PASB, and you kind of put a bug in my ear, and I thought, I'll give it a whirl. And I enjoyed my time on council, so I continued to volunteer. I worked my way up from counselor to VP PASB and then to president-elect. And I would say that it's very rewarding, both from a work aspect. It's a great experience to put on your resume. I've learned a lot. There's a lot of mentoring opportunities and a lot of professional development opportunities. And I would say, on a personal note, you build friendships from coast to coast. I'm glad and happy to say that the presidents in Alberta, BC, and right across the country, PEI and Nova Scotia, over the years of working with each other, they're not just colleagues, they are friends. And you can't actually put a tangible value on that, but that I think is one of the biggest rewarding pieces of my time volunteering here at OACETT is the friendships that you build. I would also say that it's a great experience in terms of learning governance and how to conduct meetings and speak with confidence. I know from my original term on council in 2009 to now, I am much more comfortable speaking in front of crowds and leading meetings. And I think anyone who is considering putting their nomination forward, if you have any concerns whatsoever about the sort of time commitment you might have to put in, feel free to reach out to any of us that are already on council or those members that you may know in your chapter that were on council at some point. We'd be happy to give you pointers, sit down with you. I was going to say maybe have a coffee, but we're not, I don't think at that point yet. But once we get to the coffee or the lunch, I'm sure somebody would like to sit down with you and just let you know how much time behind the scenes you need to put in. But I would say for sure the benefits outweigh any work that comes from it. And the old adage, if you like what you do, you never have to work a day in your life, I think applies to the OACETT board. Despite the fact that we do have to work, it's a lot of fun and it's very rewarding. Thanks for the question, Bob.
Okay, the next question is from Marconi Sisson. Isn't the CPD requirement just adding another layer of restrictions to get certified?
I think I can answer that, and then I will turn it over to others to chime in. I would say that the CPD requirement is not just a layer added on. It's there to make sure that our membership is current and relevant for their industries, to continue to protect the safety and well-being of the public, and to ensure that we all can go about our respective positions in our work life to the best of our abilities. I will turn it over to Barbara, maybe to either add in or to pass it on to one of the other board members.
Yes, I think I'll pass it on. As you know, I'm very passionate about CPD, and I always have lots to say about it, but I think I will pass it on to Michael Mooney, VP IEDO.
So I guess in response to the question is the CPD really isn't an extra layer to obtaining your certification. CPD is about our members that are certified. There are some cases in which associate members who have taken significant periods of time to certify have to comply with CPD. But in the general course of certification, the CPD requirements aren't there to get to your certification. They're there to maintain your ongoing certification. And the opportunities to participate in it are quite broad. And based on that, we kind of give the maximum opportunity for our members across the broadest spectrum and industries as possible to both meet that certification requirement, but to continue to grow in their careers and their professional development, both in what they do and what they have an interest in. And I think our program has been set up quite balanced to reflect on that need. And yeah, happy to entertain more questions on it.
Thanks, Mike. I think that answers that question. Barbara, we can move on to the next question if there is one.
Yes. There's a question from Peter Huang, and I'm just trying to read through it. I think he's wanting to know what services we provide to promote OACETT members, such as better jobs competitions in the marketplace.
Okay, I can answer that question, but I think I'd like to give the opportunity to someone else to chime in. So Barbara, if you want to pass it on to one of the board members, that would be great.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Can you just repeat the question, please?
Yes, yes, Mark. It's a question about what we're doing to benefit and promote members as far as employment is concerned.
Yeah, we're going to be, PAS is going to be starting a corporate outreach program with the new program outreach manager. And it's going to be called the 360 Partnership Program. And we're going to be working with companies and reaching out to companies, employers, municipalities to advertise for OACETT certified positions, job postings. And the stage we're at right now is we are reaching out to these companies to get contact names, start getting partnerships going, and working with them to see what their needs are and to promote that. So this is definitely in the works right now as a main goal of PAS over the next year and coming years. I hope that answers the member's question.
Great, thank you. Then there's a question about how many members are attending today, and it's over 200. I saw it, I think, as high as 205 at one point, so that's a wonderful turnout. There's a few more questions about certification. This one is from Hirak Pod, and he's wondering if we are evolving to change and update the requirements for certification after members have been in Canada for so many years, to admit some of the requirements based on their work experience.
So I think that Barbara, yourself, and Mike are probably the best people to answer that question. So I will toss it over to you, and if you want to pass it on to Mike, that would be fine.
Great. Thank you, Kim. Yes, I will pass it on to VP Michael Mooney and perhaps Acting Director Barry Billing of IEDO. Thank you.
So Barry can, kind of our acting director of IEDO, can weigh in on some of the specifics because he's been engaged in actually some interesting work kind of across Canada, kind of looking at some of this. But I think in general terms, we're always reevaluating the requirements for our certifications, whether it's through competency testing, looking at the experience requirements, finding alternative means for people to meet the requirements of certification. Our goal is that we never really want to lower the bar. What we want to do is find opportunities for our members to be able to, I call it level up, but basically find as many opportunities as possible to get those interested in membership to get over that certification bar. The standards that we set are quite well recognized in industry for our certification. So we don't want to compromise that for the sake of our existing certified members, but we do constantly look at our certification. We do constantly look at the requirements. And one of the tasks that I've kind of mandated during my term is that we are focusing on finding ways to help everybody meet those requirements so that anybody that wants to be certified can get certified. And Barry, I'll turn it over to you for the specifics on the IEP stuff.
Thank you, Michael. So as indicated, and I think there was a question similar to this previously around international applicants, we do have what we call an internationally educated professional practice exam, which allows these individuals, newcomers to the country who are looking for work, to take this exam, which is an additional section to our existing professional practice exam, which in place of doing a 1-year Canadian work experience to understand the standards and codes of Canadian employment, will take the place of that and allows them to quickly or more quickly become certified. So that has been put in place for a couple of years and has been approved by the Ontario Fairness Commissioner as something that is seen as a benefit to help members from other countries join OACETT and start employment. The other item Michael was speaking of is I have been in discussions with registrars from our other sister associations from the other provinces in helping navigate those that are coming to Canada and looking for employment, it's a difficult navigation because there's different, the communication is just not well laid out. So I've been working with the registrars to see if we can formalize or standardize our communications across the country to allow those that are coming in to be more educated on how to join an association and become certified. So the work group that's been meeting, we started meeting, it's been over a year now. We believe that within a year, we would have something in place where a common website would be set up to allow individuals to come in initially and get information on what they need to know for the various provinces, as well as the registrars are just trying to work through to have common wording and well-explained information for those individuals. So that's an ongoing project, and we hope that will help facilitate those coming in and helping them get employed in our country and within the provinces. Thank you.
There is a follow-up question from Hirak, and it's specifically about the Technology Reports Seminar. But so I'll just quickly say the Technology Report Seminar is not a mandatory certification requirement. Writing the technology report is, and we do accept employer reports that you may have done at your workplace. So there are alternatives for members to satisfy that requirement. I will say, though, that the Technology Report Seminar is excellent CPD, and we recognize it as such. Okay.
Thanks, Barbara. I think we have time for one more question if there's another question.
Yes, then I'll switch away from certification and go to a corporate outreach question from James Gray, CTEC, Grand Valley. He wants to know, are we aiming at specific companies, or is this program taking actions to get companies to value OACETT certification more in general?
Thanks, Barbara. I think David Terlizzi is probably the best person to answer that with Mark Gatenby's input, but Barbara, if you want to add anything, feel free and then pass it on.
Okay, thank you, Madam President. So the answer is both. We do have a large database of thousands of employers that we'll be reaching out to. Now, what we're doing, our strategy is thus far will be that we'll be reaching out to the larger ones initially. So what we're going to do during the year is when we launch this 360 partnership, we have the right person in place. Now it's a matter of essentially having a full-time person throughout the year, going to each company, promoting them. Now, it is a many-pronged approach. So yes, the fact that we have a full body going out there doing this is critical. But understand the goal here of the program is to also create a corporate committee. So why would we have a committee? The point of the committee, of course, is to have, hopefully, the theory is some corporate leaders on board to tell us, hey, I think this is what you need in order to convince companies to hire more CTECs and CETs. So full-time staff going out. We have a database of thousands of companies. There is a strategy of which ones to hit first. Clearly, you can't hit them all in 1 year. And the ultimate goal, and this is the ultimate goal in 2 years, is to have a career fair. That's the key. So we have to be out there. We have to be out there on the corporate side consistently with the committee and a career fair. And to me, once you have those three pillars, I think we'll have a system in place where I think personally you will see, and I'm sure most of the council and staff feel that what you'll see then is this rise in acceptance of the designations. Again, because we are self-regulating, the fact that it is voluntary, we have to make companies want to hire. And I think you add that to the marketing campaign and push that's going to happen this year, huge campaign with an increase in government relations. I think all in all, it's about convincing companies. I'm pretty excited about it. Now, one last thing, COVID has obviously affected the launch, and we look at, we're going to be doing it virtually, but I'm excited. And again, if you ever have a question, again, Kim Pickett, email Kim Pickett, our acting CEO, Barbara Chappell, or anyone else, and we'd love to hear more questions and ideas how we can do this, because it's going to be a pretty exciting program. So that's all I have to add. Great question.
Thanks, David. Mark, did you want to add anything from your perspective?
The only thing I want to add from what David said is we're reaching out to many companies, and we're also reaching out to HR companies that recruit people. So we're looking at the whole gambit to promote our members and try and get them employed. Thank you.
Great, thanks. Okay, thank you very much for all your great questions. It really is appreciated. In closing, I want to give many thanks to the members of council, chapter executives, and the volunteers serving in so many capacities for their dedication and hard work. All of this would not be possible without your commitment. This has been a year of transition and change for OACETT, its members, and citizens throughout Ontario and Canada. It's hard to know what to expect in the coming weeks and months, as the new reality of how we live and work is constantly evolving. What I can say is, as your president, is that OACETT is here for you. Should you have any questions or concerns or ideas, please feel free to contact myself or OACETT staff. We are here to help. As Bob nicely segued into the elections for next year, I wanted to mention that we will be calling for nominations in the fall for our next council elections in 2021. So please keep this in mind should you be interested in running for a position, and don't hesitate to reach out to those who are already in a position that you might be interested to obtain. Last but definitely not least, I want to thank my family who support my involvement in OACETT and graciously accept the sacrifice of my time away from home and at home at the moment while on OACETT business. And before adjourning, I would like to quickly acknowledge the OACETT staff, some of whom are on the line, who contributed so much to the preparation and execution of this AGM. The amount of work that goes into changing something on the fly from an in-person event to a virtual event is incredible. And when you've got a group of staff as attentive to every detail as the ones we have at OACETT, the event planning and execution appears effortless. However, their hard work has not gone unnoticed. Thank you all. We will now present the motion to adjourn the AGM. It is moved by David Saunders, CET, fellow OACETT, chair of the Near North chapter, and seconded by Matthew Aston, CET, LET, chair of the Grey Bruce chapter. Resolved that the 2020 annual general meeting of the Ontario Association of Certified Engineering Technicians and Technologists be adjourned. We will now open the polling. Please indicate whether you are in favor, in opposition, or abstaining from this motion. And that's carried. Thank you so much for tuning in to our first virtual annual general meeting. I appreciate you taking the time out of the Saturday morning and your busy lives doing whatever it is that you do from home. Thank you and stay safe, and we'll see you next year.